On this edition of In the Club, it is the need for speed, as in the man who has been running the GCU Club women's basketball program for the last 3 years. Kyle Speed joins us on this edition of our podcast, which is dedicated to club sports, everything you wanted to know, but you were afraid to ask. And anything you want to know about Kyle Speed, we're going to tell you about right now. Again, he's beginning his third season at the helm of the club women's basketball program and his fourth overall. But this is a guy who has a storied history of about a decade here on the GCU campus because he was on the floor when GCU Arena was officially indoctrinated for men's basketball. He was the starting point guard under then head coach Russ Pennell. He was with the Lopes for 2 years, and he never, in all of his 52 games, he never came off the bench. He started every game. He was their leader in assists. He averaged double figures in scoring, and since then, he has been a valued member of the GCU staff, not just athletically, but also in admissions, and now he is a treasured member of the GCU club sports staff. So as we bring Kyle to our microphones, before we start talking about Kyle Speed, the coach, I think we need to kind of wax back. Tell me about being on the floor, being introduced as the starting point guard the first time the lights go up at GCU Arena back in 2011.
Well, let me just say thank you so much for a great introduction. Man, I never thought of myself like that, but when you introduced me like that, it sounds like I've done a lot of great things. So thank you for a great introduction. Thank you for having me on the show. The first game at GCU Arena was epic and definitely one to remember. We were blessed enough to get a game against ASU in the new arena. And we had just come off a loss to Oregon where we played them extremely close at Oregon. I want to say we lost by 6 or 8 points. So it was a very close game there. Everybody was excited to see us in person in the new arena. And, it was a fairly competitive game against ASU, but they did end up, taking that first victory from us in the arena. But still something that we'll never forget, one that will definitely go down in the history books for sure.
When you ended your career and you were successful on both sides of your college career, you won a national championship with Johnson County, which is a vaunted community college in Kansas City. And then you come here and you help lead them to the 2012 Pac-West tournament. When that curtain finally closed on your career, what did you learn or what did you take from it that made you think, I want to continue this and I want to be a coach?
When I already had kids in college, so when my kids started playing sports, I could see really that there was a need for good coaches, and not just a need for winning and, not putting winning before the players' development and just making sure that the kids are learning the game the right way. And that's always been my passion. So coaching was something that was a fairly easy transition for me, definitely to get into, post-graduation.
And while it's your fourth year with the program for club sports, you've been around GCU for the most part ever since you graduated. You're a Washington native, you go to Kansas City, and then you come here. What was it that made the experience so special about being a student and a player at GCU that made you want to stay here at Grand Canyon?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I think the environment, the people, the staff, Brian Mueller, my relationship with the folks that I was able to meet in my 2 years playing at the university and taking classes. Definitely everything that GCU stands for made it really easy to really a no-brainer to want to be here long term, and then the weather in Arizona helps as well. When you're talking about Seattle and Kansas, the weather here is much better. So I'd rather be here for that.
Talking about your coaching philosophy, I know you're a big culture guy.
Mm-hmm.
How do you kind of, incorporate your coaching philosophy into your culture, and how do you get that culture to work with your team as it has the last few years?
Yeah, I really just want all the girls to play hard, and that's first and foremost. So from the very first day when we have tryouts, I let it be known, kind of what we stand for, on the defensive end, letting them know, hey, we're going to get after people defensively. So, that was something I learned from Coach Mark Nelson and Coach Russ Pennell, Matt Brazzi, Coach Boone, Coach Phil, all those guys while I was at GCU. Just, it starts on the defensive end. So I try to impart that wisdom onto them. We don't always have, what even I would consider the best talent, but the fact that we play so hard, we're able to stay in a lot of games, and we've been able to make it to the Arizona Women's Basketball League championship the past 2 years because of it. So just trying to get the girls to understand that, we want to play hard, but more importantly, what we do on the court isn't nearly as important as what we're going to do off the court.
You talked about a couple of things that you've helped expand this program since you've been there, and not just imparting wisdom to your players, but you've added a second team, which has been consistently competitive, and you've had the Arizona Women's Basketball League kind of form, and you've been able to flourish. You've made it to back-to-back championship games. What has the Auble, as we've called it the past couple of years, what has that done to open doors for your program and for your kids?
I think it's done a lot. They're playing some of the top competition around. The girls that we're playing are already, at NAIA level, D2 level, and then, with Bella Vista coming to the league, with, what school is that? The facility and their team coming to the league. The competition is only going to pick up more. So a lot of these girls are coming from, club programs where they've played their whole lives. And yes, they're not NCAA players, but we still try to do our best to let them know that, you're still going to be playing college basketball, because the teams that we are playing, many of these girls are headed to Division I programs or currently already in NAIA college programs. So we do have to be prepared from that standpoint when it comes to talent and making sure that the girls are ready to go.
Well, and that does make a good point that club sports is kind of that between the NCAA, where, Molly Miller and there's so much excitement with her program. And then you've got intramurals for the people that, maybe just want to go to the Canyon Activity Center or the LPC and play a game, roll out the ball every once in a while. But for people who don't, for prospective players who don't necessarily want to be at that, at that NCAA level, but want more than just the intramural level, what do you say to them about your program?
Yeah, just that, if you're a competitor and you want to compete, this is a great program for you. I'm very competitive, and, I wear my heart on my sleeve when I'm coaching and when my players are getting after it. So, I think for our girls, they just love that they have somebody there that is kind of championing them along, and it's not something that they have to give up when most of them have been playing their entire lives. So really just feeding off of the fact that they love the game and I love the game. And for a lot of these girls that I recruit and that reach out to me, they all tell me about how much they love the game. And, I kind of challenge them in, hey, we'll see how much you love it when it comes to practice, and we're sprinting and we're running and we're getting after it a little bit. We'll really see how much you love it. But for the most part, like you said, Jim, we've been able to grow the program each and every year. I had 24 girls consistently at practice every Tuesday and Thursday this past season, which was a blessing because, we were down to about 7 girls in that first year with Aaron. So we've really come a long way to building a great culture here. And, we lost some seniors last year that were in the program for the past 4 years themselves. So they really built a legacy that, the girls that come after them really have something to live up to.
He said he wears his heart on his sleeve when he's coaching. And for those of you who remember the fire that he showed wearing that number 3 jersey on the court as a member of the GCU Lopes, yeah, he still got some of that fire on the sidelines during the winter months at the Canyon Activity Center. You want to be a part of it firsthand? You want to talk to Kyle about maybe joining the club women's basketball program? There's the way to do it. They have a dedicated page on our Club Sports website. That's clubsports.gcu.edu. There's also a contact me button right next to his picture on his coaching bio as part of that page. So you can try and talk to him directly. And if you also want more information about men's club basketball or about Auble, there are some of the links on your screen that you can find out better ways to get involved and possibly be a Lopes player on the club women's basketball program. Kyle Speed, thanks so much for joining us. And so until next time, when we bring you another In the Club podcast, I'm Jim Howell, and we'll see you later.